and Ryan Sickler actually talked about me on the Honeydew podcast.
Okay.
I'm the meth addict that talked to aliens.
Tell me more.
Okay, so...
Was that when you were psychotic with meth? Or Okay, well, that happens a lot.
I mean, they still talk
That's
to me.
not, well. Tell me more.
All right, so now we'll play a game called Is She Schizophrenic or Enlightened? Because this is my favorite game.
Left over from meth.
Yeah. So part of what led me to do drugs, I tried meth on accident. After a gig, I thought I was just doing a bump of coke, but I was already very destructive by this point.
A comedy gig?
Mm-hmm. I started doing comedy when I was 21, and then I was pretty much immediately on the road. I was a professional comedian within 9 times of doing comedy on accident.
That's a psychic ability.
Yeah. I actually started doing comedy because I had lied and told some coworkers that I do comedy, and they showed up at the open mic to support me, and I was like, well, I guess I do comedy now.
Do you still have trouble with truth?
No. Kind of went along with that attention-seeking thing.
Yeah, sure.
I was still very much.
Sure.
Back then, I was someone who, if you told a story, I would adopt it as my own story.
Yeah.
And then I went through this alien experience and became kind of a different version of myself. And then life also became so absurd that I didn't really need to borrow anyone else's stories anymore. All right, so I have a near-death experience in 2000, about 6 months into doing drugs.
From doing what? Wait, you have a heart attack or something? Or
I think it could have been GHB. I don't remember taking GHB, but we had bottles of GHB all over the place. So I have a few theories of what it could have been. I don't know that. I guess meth kills people, but out of all, I say it doesn't, and then people in YouTube comments are like.
Well, most meth addicts, you would deteriorate on meth,
right?
And most meth addicts die in violence. Committing violence or being perpetrated against.
Yeah.
And you can deteriorate so much if you're also smoking cigarettes and other stuff where you can have cardiac stuff, but that's not typical.
Yeah.
It's not typical.
So that most of the people I lost they got shot, something like that.
Yeah.
Now, once I got clean on the East Coast and was in recovery with heroin addicts, I've lost 100 friends from recovery to relapses because opiates
kill easily. Yeah.
So, anyway, I have a near-death experience, and I don't know a ton of details about it.
Do you know the dopey guys in the East?
Yeah. That's how we...
Is that how we got together?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So did you know Chris?
No, I did their podcast once, and then Dave called me back right after Chris had died. Yeah, I had lost 2 people that week when he called me and told me.
It's so horrible.
It's at least one a week.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this near-death experience. I end up in this big blue ball of light. At this point, I've already done a 5-year stint in Christianity, and I believe myself to be a backslidden Christian. And I want to keep him. I'm in the blue ball of light. I am myself, but I'm a part of this blue ball of light. And my entire life, I've had this kind of homesickness going in the background.
Sure.
Could be caused by trauma, though, right?
Well, but you were without a home.
Yeah. And so I'm in the blue ball of light, and I feel home. This feels like the place I've waited for my entire life.
I've heard other people describe that.
The light tells me, not in words, but gets translated to words later.
Yeah.
You did everything you went to do. You learned everything you went to learn. You can stay here if you want, or if you want to go back, we got something cool that you can do.
Okay.
For some fucking reason,
Just to do this show, clearly.
I was 22. 22-year-old me totally would have come back to meet Dr. Joe. And then I come back, and for the rest of my addiction, I am in what we have named on other podcasts, alien school. And in alien school, while I'm sleep dreaming, which sleep is weird when you're on meth.
Well, you have hypnagogic hallucinations.
Ooh, what's that?
It's like you've ever had sleep paralysis? Where you wake up and you feel like you can't move and there's something lying on top of you and you can see that something. People have various manifestations of what they're seeing. That thing may or may not have sex with you. It may or may not be threatening to you. But they have very characteristic forms that people see when they're in this hypnagogic hallucination. It's a sleep state.
Okay. Yeah, I would call that twilight sleep. It's like doesn't feel like all the way sleep. Doesn't feel like all the way
Your eyes are
dreams.
open, but you're frozen. It's because you're still in sleep.
Yeah. So they taught me a bunch of stuff.
The sleep people.
I call them aliens.
Okay.
I think woo-woo people call them guides. And according to them, we live in some type of Listen, I was like, I'm not going to talk about aliens on Dr. Drew. This was already booked. I was like, I'm not going to talk. Jessa,
and here
you
we are.
Not going to. You're going to get through one fucking podcast without talking about aliens. And
Bert will come in here and go, why did you talk to her about the aliens?
And then Ryan brought it up, and I was like, God damn it, I'm going to talk about the aliens. So they said that we were living in a 3D fear-based reality that was based on dichotomies where we don't remember that we're playing a video game. It's essentially a video game. Mm-hmm. And that we're going into a higher level of consciousness where we all kind of merge our consciousness back together again, and that I would assist in this process or whatever. And so they taught me a bunch of stuff I have used, a bunch of stuff I'm not able to use yet. Like
what?
How to move things with my eyes and how to levitate. I can't do it yet.
Okay.
We're still in this goddamn 3D. But I can feel where I would do it.
And what they teach you that was useful?
How to hear people's thoughts. It feels like subtext. So a lot of people can do it. A lot of people don't know that they can do it. So when someone's talking, I mean, you, of course, this is like a gift you've had your entire life. But like someone's talking to you. Not my entire life.
Came late.
It came late? Did you learn it?
I learned it by, I'm super sensitive to other people. I learned it by being an object of scrutiny in therapy by an excellent therapist, and it developed.
Okay.
And then I found I could do that for other people.
Okay. So when someone's talking to you about why they need to break up with their girlfriend and they're self-deceiving and they're telling you all of these reasons, but you can hear.
I can hear with my body. That's the way I look at it.
Okay.
I hear with my ears, but I listen with my whole body.
Okay. So do you believe in things like clairvoyance and clairaudience?
Yeah.
But they're just not that woo, right? They're just.
To me, there's something about our right brain. That's why my wife has a bunch of psychic friends, and I'm interested in looking at them and studying them and figuring out what they're doing, because they all kind of do the same thing. And there's something about our right brain that makes us able, I think it's that we're sort of reading each other. There's so much more going on in our brain that we're consciously aware of.
Yes.
And that I think we pick up a lot from other people that we're not aware of, that if we could figure out how to tune into it, it would be very enlightening.
This makes me so excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if we have these other senses and we have been, my understanding is that we're downloading higher and higher levels of them. But what if we've always had them and we just didn't know about them? No one ever taught us to use
abilities?
them. We're taught to dismiss them.
Well, maybe they developed from evolutionary biology in some fashion, and maybe it was the primary way we survived in the world at one time. And it's continued to evolve, but it's evolved sort of beneath the surface in ways that is not apparent to humanity right now. Because our conscious brain is sort of in the way of us seeing these things.
Yeah. Do you know about IFS?
No.
Internal family systems?
No.
So when I was 14, I was in the mental hospital, and I told
As is the custom.
Yeah. Like you do when you're 14. These are the kind of things that like I was making shit up, and then later I was like, everyone didn't spend their freshman year in a mental ward.
But when I say that as a trauma survivor, you probably have lots of interesting sort of psychic abilities, you're telling us about these things that I'm used to hearing from people that have trauma.
Yeah.
Yours has a little more of story elements to it.
Yeah.
Let's say it has more story, but there's not uncommon people to have all kinds of stuff like this that they can tune into.
I used to be kind of sensitive about people thinking I was crazy, and so I kept it pretty quiet. And
if you ever couldn't differentiate it from something that you're just sort of listening to, if it took over, that'd be crazy. So
that's the determining factor between schizophrenia and.
If you can't tell the difference.
Okay.
The schizophrenia, you don't have schizophrenia.
Right.
Because that's something that develops 18 to 22.
Okay.
What you might have is something left over from the meth. You might have an injury that's giving you all this stuff, making you see all this stuff.
Yeah. Would there be a part of my brain that could have been injured?
Yeah. Yeah. And by injured, I'm not saying destroyed or adverse. You just gave you some interesting experiences.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me fun at parties.
Makes you very fun. Very fun for podcasting too.
I just think about different things. Like when I was 8, I felt driven to run into a pole and hit my head in the same spot 4 days in a row. I probably would have been more than 4 days in a row, but on Thursday, they were like, yeah, we're going to need you to take her home for a long weekend. Stop by the hospital, get her something for her concussion. And then I got hit by a car right after that. Was that right before that? I don't know. I got hit by the back of the car, so I just wasn't paying attention.
Weird how
But-
that might have been a traumatic reenactment of the car episode.
Yeah. It's just strange. Like I was trying to maybe I was trying to dislodge the chip.
No,
or
because
something.
you're always, your whole thing is traumatic reenactments.
Yeah. That is my thing.
Yeah.
Damn it. I got to stop getting divorced so I stop getting married. That's my new strategy. Can't get married if you're not divorced.